Heyo YouTube, Flowcat here, and today I wanted to talk about whether or not it is dumb to care about fictional characters in a video game. In one corner of this internet debate, we have the side that does not care about characters in video games. They state that these characters are not real, have no impact on reality, and are simply a tool, a means to an end, a way to experience the video game, nothing more. In the other corner of this internet debate, we have the people who do care about fictional characters, and they often state that, they have an empathetic connection to these characters. Quite simply, they state that art imitates life, and for that reason, these characters are relatable and have, an emotional impact on the consumer. So those are the two sides of the coin. Those are the two stances that I commonly see taken online when people are arguing about this topic. Today, I just wanted to give my thoughts, my opinions on this debate, and you are welcome to disagree with me. That's fine. Now that the exposition is done, I can finally get into the meat of this video. I do not think it is dumb to care about fictional characters. I care about a lot of fictional characters. First of all, I just wanted to point out that if you look at fandoms with other forms of media like movies, comics, books, there's so many TV shows, there's a ton of different forms of media. People care about fictional characters quite readily in all of those different forms of media. And as a matter of fact, even gamers that probably think that fictional characters are kind of dumb and pointless care about fictional characters in some other context, just not in the context of gaming. I bring this up because I just want to point out how weird that is, that in other forms of media, like movies, books, all that stuff I mentioned, we are easily ready to care about fictional characters, and we do. But when it comes to video games, there is this weird distinction where some people think it's like dumb, like really dumb to care about a fictional character. They think it's like uncool or something, I have a couple theories as to why this might be. Video games have a fundamental difference compared to all those other forms of media. And that difference is that in a video game, you are controlling the main character. And although the degree of control changes from game to game, you often feel like a self-insert in a lot of different video games. That's kind of how they try to design them, is that no matter who's playing the game, they feel like they're not alienated completely from the character that they're controlling. You can see this quite clearly in early video game design, where characters like Link and Mario are designed to be self-inserts. They are designed to be almost a blank slate hero with a couple quirks that you can play as and feel like you are sort of that character in that moment. Now, I would argue that this was somewhat necessary at the time due to hardware limitations and so many other limitations of the early video game market. As time has gone on and technology has improved, video games have been able to catch up and match other forms of media in terms of character development. We're able to have characters with complex personalities, believable voices, and relatable personal experiences. Now, clearly, Link and Mario are sort of artifacts of the past. They're mascots of particular video game franchises, and that's what they were designed to be. But with video games like Genshin Impact, we have characters that are designed to be more lifelike, to be more relatable. They have life experiences that can create empathetic responses from people that pay attention and are immersed in the world. But due to the culture of early video game design, I think that we still have lots of people who feel like every character is like Mario or Link, where they're just sort of these mascot heroes. Now I want to get into a sort of a claim that I have that may upset some people that disagree with me. I think that when people make these claims about not caring about fictional characters, it's often in response to something nasty they said about a particular character. Like they said some particular character is stupid or weird or, just some kind of like insult to that character. And what these people don't realize is like, they're not insulting a character like Mario. They're insulting a character that people relate to. They're insulting a character that has been designed to a point where people feel like in some ways they are that character. And so when you insult that character, you are in some ways insulting them. Characters in a video game like Genshin Impact are based on real life personal experiences that people have, even though the world is a fantasy world and a fictional world. These events never happened. Obviously, these characters are not real in the sense that they are like real people in the real world, obviously, but that does not mean that they cannot be relatable or that people won't have an emotional impact hearing the stories of these particular characters. So when people insult a fictional character and then get backlash from it, I honestly think that that's just sort of a low EQ response. I think that people who fail to see why someone would care about a video game character that is totally relatable might have kind of a low emotional intelligence. And I really don't mean this to be insulting. I just mean this in the sense that some gamers tend to socially isolate themselves and they don't quite understand how other people work. Because really, failing to have empathy for a character extends to failing to have empathy for someone who relates to that character. If you insult a fictional character, someone gets upset, and then you get upset at them and end up defending yourself, it shows a lack of empathy not just for some fictional character, but also a lack of empathy for the people who are actually upset at you for sort of like indirectly insulting them. And yeah, I realize this might be a hot take because there's this sort of anti-intellectual movement where people, you know, it's so cool not to care. They don't want to be super engaged with anything because emotion is a sign of weakness. And like if I were to cry during a certain quest, everyone would think that I'm like a pansy or like I'm weak or something. And I think that whole train of thought is kind of toxic and weird. I can understand where they're coming from in terms of like past games, but in the modern gaming era, characters are so well designed that it's sort of like just common sense to understand that these characters are worth caring about. At least in my opinion. Sort of a side tangent, but I think this is actually one of the biggest benefits of gacha games, is that the characters are the products. And so there's more incentive for the developers to spend a lot more time developing the personality and backstory of these characters. They're not just self-inserts. These characters sell better when they produce an emotional response with the gamers, when characters are relatable or cater to a certain person's personality. Of course they're gonna like them more. I know some people view this as manipulative, but I think if it's done right, it's not really manipulative. It's sort of just better to have characters that are better written. I mean, that's just a fact. But yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough. I got my point out there. I don't think it's dumb to care about fictional characters. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing. So now I'm curious about your thoughts. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about this whole conversation. Add any other points you may have or feel like adding or whatever. Sub if you like the content, like the video, and as always, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Peace.